Hello, I'm going to show you how to change a headlight bulb on this 2013 Subaru Outback. A normally notoriously difficult job, but I found a way of turning a 3-hour job into about half an hour for both of them. This job I used to do myself, I found a different way to do it, and I think it makes it a whole lot easier. So let's dive in. Anyone that's ever tried this job before, this is the way I used to have to do it. Was you have to take the battery out, and Subaru in their wisdom has the end cap for the light, for the headlight, right up against this bulkhead here, and you can't get your hands in. It's impossible, even with the battery out. It's the same on the opposite side. Even after you take the airbox out, you still can't get your hands in here to change it. So what we used to have to do was, this was a full wheel off, jack the car up, take out the whole wheel arch, and then you'd have to try and squeeze your hand in here, but then because your hand was so far up here, you couldn't actually see over the top to see what you were doing, so it was guesswork. And more often than not, you would touch the bulb with your fingers, you blow a bulb, and it just ruined the whole process. And this used to take probably 45 minutes each side, probably more. You'd end up with a scratched arm, and the chances are that you'd blow the bulb. And not only did they make this a difficult job to do, but they also made it that the bulbs blew frequently. I've replaced this bulb 5 times in the same time I've replaced one light bulb in my Honda Element. And that was because I wanted to change it to an LED, and that job took 10 minutes. So I'm going to show you an easier way to do this. These are the only tools you're going to need. A plastic rivet popper. If you haven't got one of these, then one of these and one of these will do the same job. You pop it up with this, and then you pop the rest of it out. I'll show you how to use that. And a 10mm socket. You can use just a regular wrench. I just use an impact driver because it makes life easier. I'm not sure if people know actually how you use this. I'll get a light on you. But what you do is you pop it in between the 2 grooves there. You can see that. Pop it in there, and it will lift up the centerpiece. And once the centerpiece is up, you shift it underneath, and it lifts out the whole thing. Okay, now on this Subaru, there are, to start with, I'll just drop it on the floor. Pick it up. To take the bumper off, and it's not that intimidating, believe me, it's quite easy. They're just these pop plastic rivets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the top, and underneath here there are 6, 1 in the middle, and then 3 either side. And then as you come around here, there is one here which I've already taken out. You can see in there, it's just you pull this back, and there's one just up there. Oh, I'm all fingers and thumbs. Why am I making it so difficult? There it is. Okay, up there, one each side of there. Okay, so I've taken that one out. I'm going to take the 6, 7 off the bottom and the 8 off the top, and then we will resume. So I've taken the 8 plastic rivets from the top, either side, and the 7 from the bottom. There's 6 on one side, 6 on the other, and 1 in the middle. 1 in the wheel arch here, just behind that. And then all you have to do is quite literally just pull on on it. Pop this out here. See that? Pops out, and then pull. Same on the other side. This is by far the most intimidating part of this job, and it's quite easy. Pull out, pull forward, and that's it. Bumper drops off. Remember that, out and forward. This will not, most of the time this is going to fall out as well, because it's just a foam cushion, and the foam pieces that hold it on, the pop bits, they break, so I've got a zip tie on. So now I will show you how to change the headlight. Couldn't be easier. So there's a frame here you have to remove to take the headlight out. Very simple. There's a plastic rivet there, pop that out, and then 1, 2, and as you come around the front, there's another one down here. Sorry, my camera is extended to the full, bear with me. And then there's another 2 here. 1, 2. So 5 bolts in a little plastic rivet, and this whole plastic, or this metal frame here, will pop out for you. That's all it is. 5 bolts in a plastic tab. Back to you in a second. So I have removed the 5 little bolts and the wee plastic tab, and this thing is just going to pull right out. There you go. Easy peasy. So then all that's left is we peel back this. Sorry about my hands all the way in the way. There's a plastic tab there. 1 bolt exactly the same, 10mm as the other. Everything's just 10mm. 1 up the top, and then 1 there, which I've already taken out. So 1, 2, 3, and a plastic tab. And that is it. Okay, we'll get back to you on that one. Now there's everything laid out. There's the plastic cowl that goes around the headlight. Like I said, 5 bolts and 1 plastic tab. And on the headlamp, 3 bolts and another plastic tab. I recommend that you, if you can, get yourself one of these kits, because these tabs do break on a fairly regular basis. And if you own one of these cars, you know they are like, you're going to be doing this quite a bit. Like I said, this is the 5th or 6th time I have changed this headlight bulb. So I've now turned a 5-hour job, or sorry, a 3-hour job into a half an hour. This is so much easier. You just pop the bumper off, which is 15, 16, 17 plastic tabs like this. And as I showed you earlier, just in case you want to see it again, you just use this tool to pop the middle piece out, and then you push it underneath to pop the whole thing out. It is so simple. It really is. Don't be intimidated by it at all. And then just pull out on the bumper and pull it forward. Piece of cake. So now we'll change the bulb. Always recommend when you're using halogen bulbs, get yourself a pair of, I'll take these off actually while I'm doing the dirty work. Get yourself a pair of those lint free or whatever they're called, those gloves, because you never want to touch the bulb. The bulbs in this aren't actually gone. I just replaced them with really bad ones, and they're terrible. So I just went back to standard. I went for these fancy kind of blue ones. I thought they'd do better, but they were terrible. I couldn't see anything into it. I nearly hit a ladder that was in the middle of the road the other day. So they just still work. They're just terrible. And I'm going back to the standard Hellas. They're just standard, basically, whatever. So now I will put my fancy gloves on. Sorry about the shaky camera work. I'm just not the best at this, but I'm trying. I'm getting better, and I want to return the favor to all those people that make videos that help me out. So in she goes. As you can see, I've actually taken the whole headlight unit out. I've only taken this out to show you how it's done. You can actually, it's easier to just leave it in the car and don't bother disconnecting it from the loom, because this takes 2 minutes to do. So don't bother with that. This is just for the purpose of making the video. Put your clip back in. Keep these somewhere dirt free for the next one. Lens back on, which they don't make easy either. This is a pig to get on, so you can imagine how hard it is when you can't actually see what you're doing with your hand up through the wheel arch. My arms used to be covered in cuts and scrapes from doing this from the other way. This way, if you're actually mechanically inclined, it's actually quite an enjoyable job. So yeah, imagine trying to do this when you can't actually see what you're doing, and trying to change the bulb when you can't see what you're doing. It's a horrible job. 2013 Subaru Outback, sold to us by the con artist scheming bastards that is Subaru Grand Junction. This car was actually the subject of a class action lawsuit. There were so many faults with it. This is just one of them. We've had nothing but grief with this car, but we're stuck with it, so we're just trying to make the best of it. Burns through a litre of oil every 500 miles. That's 2-stroke engine territory, and that's just another thing. We bought it from them, and they never told us. So either they were incompetent and didn't know, or they knew and didn't tell us. Either one is unforgivable. Anyway, enough of my bitching. Let's put this back in. So I'm going to reconnect this to the wiring harness. Like I said, you didn't have to do this. I just did it for the sake of making the video. In she clips. Go under the flap, just lift the flap out of the way there, so this will sit in. Little clip there down the side, it'll pop in there. That's just for so you can line it up. Now 1, 2, 3, and a little plastic tab, and that's good to go. So we'll put our bolts in. Basically the same process in reverse. One over the top here. And one little plastic tab in there. Okay, now we have the bracket, goes in front. Just like that. And it's the same again, we've got 5 bolts and another wee plastic tab. Stand by. I was confusing myself there, there's actually only 2 holding this on and 1 goes through and holds both. So you have 5 for this plastic here and 2, but 1 holds 2 of them together. We're just going to pop these in. Yeah, that thread didn't go in quite so easy, but I've done this so many times and there's so many bolts holding on. I'm not really that bothered. It's not exactly stressed. There we go. And then your little plastic tab in there. Bang. Make sure they're locked up. Don't have to over torque these. Like I said, they're not stressed. And that's that. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side, and then I'm going to show you how to put the bumper back on. So I've repeated the process on the other side. With this headlight, exactly the same frame, little subframe, headlight comes out. Make sure you use your gloves, change the headlight. Now we're going to put the bumper back on. Okay, this is... Don't be intimidated by this whole bumper thing. It really isn't that big a deal. So what I recommend you do is, it does go in underneath this, in between. You'll figure it out when you get along to it. So what I would do is, just get this in situ. It'll be just under the headlight here. You'll feel it push in. And then just put a couple of tabs in on the top, just to start off. Just to hold it in place. Push them out. Pop them in, bang. You don't have to put them all in, it's just to make sure that this doesn't go anywhere. Because you want to attack it now from the bottom. Get this going forward. As you do it, you'll feel it clicking into place. And then just give it a pop. Same on the other side. Like I said, just a couple of tabs. And you pull it forward and in and pop. Excuse me. There we go. Bang. Boom. Now, we'll go underneath. Back in a moment. Alright guys, I have replaced the 9 underneath, not 7 as I said earlier, it's 9. There's 9 of these pop rivets. I've replaced them, they go in very easily. You push them out, then you put them through the hole, and then you push them down, and they just click in. And the same process applies to underneath. They really are very, very simple. One of the easier things on this car. Yeah. My recommendation to you for this car is don't buy one. As I said, there are so many faults with this car, it's just not funny. But if you are stuck with it like myself and my wife are, then hopefully this will have made your life easier than bringing it to a garage, because they would have charged you God knows what for this job just to change a headlight bulb. It's ridiculous. It's such a con. So there you have it, and don't forget the last two, which I will show you now. New tabs for this because they break so easily. It is, as I said, handy to have this kit. Oh, come on, give me a couple. Sorry, bear with me there. I suppose if I had a look to see what size I needed, it might save me a bit of time. It's pretty small, this one. These two both broke in the process, so let's see if these do the job. Come on. The only ones I seem to have are screw-in ones, which I'm not a big fan of. Oh well. Okay, that'll work. These are not your regular pop tabs. I know the light is not great there, but these are actually screw-in ones. You pop them in, and then there's actually a Phillips head on the top. It doesn't help either. But anyway, yes, whatever you have lying around, like I said, it's good to have a kit for this kind of thing because they do break. Make sure all your flaps are on the inside, not on the outside. Tab in. And there we go. Alright guys, I hope this helps you out. Like I said, back in the old days, the bad old days, wheel had to come off, whole inside wheel arch had to come out. You had to somehow stick your hand up here, come in over the top, was a disaster. It was a 3-hour job, and the chances are you wouldn't get the end cap on correctly, and the chances are you would have touched the bulb, and you'd be doing this job again in a month's time. So hope that helps you out, guys. Have a good one.